Let's talk about field days super quick, and then we can talk through lots of other things. We don't have to leave super quick, but let's get the field day recap kind of done, because I do want to talk about that. All right. Real quick, I do want to just take a second. The point, since we're back from break, the point that Joe made about your IRA distribution, that's not tax advice. Please consult with your CPA. Do all the right things. Make sure you got the age right. Right. Just do that. Make sure the ages are right, because there is a sliding window on that. As far as age, there's a window on that. Just double check all that. But that is a great point that Joe made. I don't want to discount that, but do check that and properly vet that with your CPA. All right. And then before we dive into field day, I'll put this out there as well. Everybody was looking at the maps during the break. The maps were really fun for me to create. I did use ChatGPT to create this. We can talk about this after the meeting if you like. They are public. I have shared them. If you're interested and you want to dive through them and click through them, send me an email and I'll send you the link back, or you can have them that way. But they're really interesting to dive through. It's kind of interesting. And it's really pretty straightforward to do. Might be something, if you're really interested in it, let me know. I'll make it a Ham 101 topic in the future, and we can talk about how we could potentially do this. All right. So let's talk about field day for a minute. Before we do that, I want to do something I want to share with. This is not, so I apologize. The field day review, I want to take everybody that was at field day. I'm looking for some of your feedback on field day, because it was a fantastic field day event. I want to show you this and share you this because, as I mentioned in Sparks, the Delta Club has never, all the way back to 2000, has never operated as a 6A field day club. That's a accomplishment to all of our membership that made that happen this year, and it took a fairly substantial effort, because I don't even remember how many antennas did we actually end up hanging in the trees. We hung a Delta loop. You put up an inverted V. We had the 40 meter. We had John's. That's 4. We had an infed off of the tower as a backup. Carolyn's. We had 6 antennas that we hung. Plus, and I have to admit, we put a tri-bander up on the EMA tower, and oh my, I have been introduced to a new form of cheating, and that would be called a Yagi. Changed my perspective on antennas, I have to admit, personally. The GOTA station was the recipient benefit of the tri-bander that we put up at about 45 feet. Fred Miller donated for the field day. He had the rotator on the ground. And in Sparks, I mentioned where the tri-bander actually come, and he's got that stored in his attic and said, hey, next year when you want to do it for field day again, come get it and we'll do the tri-bander again for field day. So the next field day's challenge is upon us. How can we figure out to get a tri-bander up in the air if we don't have the EMA antenna? So all of your engineering minds put some thought into that. Because we're not guaranteed to get the tower again. What's that?
Absolutely not.
There's ways to do it, but it's a lot of work. But I did want to take a minute and kind of share with the group. Let me see if I can make this a little bigger, so you can at least see it. That may be too big. But this was I went all the way back to 2000, and all of this was pulled from the ARRL's records to try to get, what was the biggest that we had, and the biggest station that we had was kind of in the 20 teens. We operated as a 5A, but that wasn't the most contact we ever had. The biggest year from a QSO perspective was in 2002, when the club logged 2,800 QSOs. That's staggering to me. But that was the year that we had the most QSOs. So
What did we operate as that year?
we were operating as a 3A that year.
Oh, wow.
So I mean, and
We were running.
And there was no digital back then.
No FT8.
Correct.
No FT8, we were running
After radio.
some 120 contacts an hour for part of that, I believe.
it was
I think that was the year that we were at Freeman Park,
I'll let y'all go over there.
and we had like a Connex container, and I was set up. I was one of the operators, but I operated about 2 hours, and it was unbelievable the number of contacts we were making. And I'm trying to think, I think it was on a G5 RV.
yeah.
But
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of the details on what was actually run at the field day locations. This is really just from the submission to the ARRL. But if you look at it, it was 2,800 contacts and 14 participants. There were some contacts being made, 120 an hour. Tom's familiar with that. We were making 120 contacts in a couple of hours this year. Now, granted, we were also having fun. We were sitting there socializing and talking, and that's what it's all about. But I just was curious because I'd never gone back to the historical record to see what the historical record had. Let's just I'll walk you through. These are we use N3 FJP as our logging. This is the statistics that get dumped out of the log. Can everybody see that for the most part? That would be a negative. That'd be,
We believe you.
So our total contact log, as I kind of shot this one in Sparks, we had 882 contacts. I've since deduped it, and we had a dupe, so it's actually 881. But hey, what's one contact? By far and away, our largest contact this year was phone, sideband, single sideband, 408 contacts. Our most popular band was clearly 20 meters. That vertical just kicks. It just kicks. Plus, the tri-bander was on 20 meters as well, too. And it was horizontally polarized and the vertical was vertical. They didn't conflict with each other, so that made some fun times. Although when they were not on 20 at the same time because that wasn't workable. It was GOTA when it was, anyway, it doesn't matter. You know the details. Here's this is by frequency, not really interesting. Here's our states. The most popular state was Ohio with 51 contacts. Our furthest contacts are down here at the bottom. A lot of these are Wyoming, a couple of Canadian contacts. We did manage to hit Italy. We did get a Japan. We look down here at the DX. You'll see down here in the DX, and we hit Puerto Rico, Canada, Hawaii, Alaska, Japan, Australia. Who got Australia? That must have been an FTA. I missed that one. That's awesome.
I think I got Australia.
Yeah, it was an FTA. But Germany we hit via voice. Italy we hit via voice. Bahrain. Which one did? I forget her name. It was.
Colombia and Côte d'Ivoire as well.
You know, the point that I'll make us all kind of take a look here is we had a lot of fun and we reached multiple contacts with a 4-hour setup window, 6 wire antennas, and a tri-banded beam sitting on top of it, a tower.
The GOTA station talked to the FIFA special event
Yes.
station, Curacao, or the ABC's call sign for special event FIFA.
It was. I remember I was sitting, where was I? I was down. I wasn't I was taking a picture of that one. So here's the continents that we hit. not a bad showing. Our CQ zones, here's where our operators, Carolyn obviously was rounding up the top of the pile. She made all of our CW contacts. And then Tom's was rocking that 20-meter vertical. And then that's just everybody as they kind of walk through there. Not that this was trying to anybody to do more or less than anyone else. It's just an interesting statistic. Oh yeah, you wanted to have one more than John. I know.
Your count doesn't match my count.
And then the fun thing that I had with it is we had 17 operators. 17 people that came out and worked 6 different stations to operate and get on the air and have fun. And that doesn't include the GOTA station. The GOTA station had 5 youth that made, I think all of the youth made an international contact. I haven't gone back to validate that, but I think they did.
Pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that all of the youth made an international contact. I haven't gone back to double check that, but it seems to stick that they did. And we all had it networked, and we all made the contacts, and N3FJP did the magic for us. So what I'd like, that's kind of an overview. We had 6 antennas, 6 stations, a lot of wire in the tree, a lot of slingshots that Tom helped us with and other people helped us with. So what I would like to now is just kind of a real quick, just open the floor for those that are there. What would be your feedback? Now, one of the other things before we jump into that, a shameless plug. You've got a signal report on your table. Let us know how the meeting was tonight. There's a free form at the very bottom if you want to put some field day comments in there as well. Let us know. That helps us out a lot. We look at those. You get the results in Sparks every month, so it's a fun way to just kind of let us know what's going on. All right. For that, I want to open the floor because to kind of feedback. What worked well? What'd you like? What'd you not like? Because it's not, there's bad things too. Let us know. All right.
It was one of the most, it sounds funny to say organized, but it was. But it was one of the most energetic, equipment deployed field days I've seen us do in quite some time, years. Usually it was more than just pop up a little thing. There was some experimenting done. We put a delta loop up, and we had vertical up. We had, there was a lot of things going on that weren't just easy to do normal things. They were very more out the track. Good for them.
Yep. That was a personal goal of mine, is to experiment, to have something that I've never done. So I have to admit, I drove the Delta Loop because we've never done one. We had space. Now we know we may do 160 meters top band next year. Anyway, people go, oh no. All right, feedback. Anybody else? And I did want to say a huge compliment to Billy and to Adam. They did a seminar, 30 minutes apiece, over in the library. We got some publicity with it, and we got some people to attend it that just helped. One on the copper J-pole and one on portal. That's a great success too. The community got to see us in that vein as well. Feedback? Anybody else?
Yeah, I'll say, I know that some of the operators, we all kind of, through the course of the day, bumped into each other on some of the things. And so, in some aspects, you can get aggravated by that. But I looked at it a little bit differently because I hadn't been out there before, and oh well, I was going to operate on that, but now they need to operate. I'm stepping on whatever, so now I get to go back and reconfigure my antenna. So I'm in the field and I'm learning about okay, my setup. I need to try and get on 40, or I need to try and get on 15 or whatever, with from 20 wherever I was. So in that respect, it was a pretty good learning experience for me because, I had to go and reconfigure things. I happened to be on a vertical, so it was kind of easy for me. I didn't have to go into a tree and readjust things. But, there was that, So I know that there was some discussion amongst some of us out there, like which band are you supposed to be?
Band plan coordination was, I will admit, was one of the challenges this year at 6A, and the space that we were in. Coordinating the band was a little bit of a challenge. We made it work, but we had to work with each other.
Yeah, it made me, I think, and I did say it, I think to somebody, it made me wonder, do we have too many out here? Because we're bumping into each other, right? So that is some feedback for next year. Let's try to figure out where everybody should be able to sit all day long or.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was getting some strong lead over, Carol, where I was, I mean, our antennas were so close together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about, those of us that were there, and Fred had a long discussion, Fred Miller, about notch filters. Creating, we've got, the club owns band pass filters for the bands, but if we're going to be leveraging multi-station, meaning if we're going to have a CW station on 40 meters and a sideband station on 40 meters and a digital station on 40 meters, we're going to need notch filters, because what we do is we'll need to notch the CW out of the sideband, we'll need to notch the digital out of the others so they're on the same band, and a band pass isn't going to really assist if you don't notch out the really strong signals that are next to you, aka CW or digital. So anybody that has some notch filters floating around, let us know. Anybody else? More feedback?
The food was good. I want to reiterate that.
Food was good.
What'd
Was
you
it-
have for food?
It was good.
Lunch was several mini plates of sandwiches from Marco's, and then in the evening we had pizza and pasta salad and desserts and chips. Thank you, Josh, for bringing all that out, because that helped. And the coffee pot was a huge hit. And then breakfast was kind of cold breakfast Sunday morning. Worked out really well. The Shoba did a really good job coordinating that. Thankful to them for that. Any other observations? Anything that those of us that were there that didn't go well? Oh man, wow, okay.
I didn't, what's her name, the CW?
Carolyn?
Did she use that generator with the propane tank?
She did not have to fire that up.
She did not, okay.
We were able to run off of Fred Miller's generator. So the way, I couldn't find it fast enough, but the way it worked out is the 20 meter station, the Dakota, and the 40 meter station in the pavilion and the CW station were close enough. They ran off of the 2,000 watt generator that Fred was running. The digital station that was at the far end of the field, John Reiner's, he brought the station, and then Adam's station in the middle of the field on the Delta Loop in the inverted V, and then Jonathan's. All three of those are running on batteries and solar. So all the QSOs that we made from those team members get to go towards the pure battery bonus that we get. So that helped out a great deal as well.
To get a little data on that propane usage for, maybe next time.
Yeah, we did not have to start that one up. So good and bad.
Also, some feedback that I know that you and I talked about, that planning for next year, or maybe even having an overnight shift to take over some stations like mine, or, like I can't be out there
Right.
at night, but I'm sure somebody else could step in and just man the station overnight, and they could have just kept making contacts all night.
We did have the sign up form, and we tried to block that into 2-hour blocks. So hopefully we'll get that out and keep working and refining that a little better, because that is an ultimate goal, is that nobody really has to work 24 hours straight. You can come work the sweet spot that you want to work, the 6 hours that you want to work from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. or from midnight to 2 or whatever. But that is a strong goal. I'd love to be able to get to that point. All right, any other feedback, observations, comments? Another shameless plug for the Signal Report. All right. All right, if we don't have any other feedback or comments or observations for Field Day, I would say thank you so much for coming out tonight. I would certainly entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Joe, seconded by Bill. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, thank you so much. See y'all next month. And if you, just FYI, we're here for a bit, so this will be our meeting place for a little while.